Crypto Kids, happy Sunday and happy Labor Day tomorrow to all Americans celebrating. This is going to be a quick video. I want to talk about an instance that happened back in February of this year where we got Consensio crossing all bearish, leading Bitcoin following a double top to come down all the way to $74,000, and how we could be seeing something very likely and very, very similar happening this time around in September. So that's going to be the first point of discussion. We will talk about what Benjamin Cohen just posted regarding the bull and bear market support band and his 50 simple moving average. We use the 54 simple moving average, but very, very, very similar analysis. And finally, I want to go into the short-term price action, what Bitcoin has to do to get rid of the bear case, and the divergence that, while gold and Bitcoin is forming, what happened when these two assets had a divergence previously in the cycle, and how I think this divergence will play out now over the next 1 to 2 months. September is beginning. September is the most bearish month for Bitcoin. In all of the months, you see an average rate of return of negative 3.77%. So all of this analysis will link in very nicely. And I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you do enjoy it, always make sure to destroy the like button. It's just fantastic for the YouTube algorithm. So if you do that, more and more crypto kids can watch these videos. And if you're not subscribed already, make sure to subscribe. We're super close to 56,000 subscribers. So if we can get to 56 maybe by the end of this week, that would be amazing. And guys, you only have 1.5 hours left in Dubai time as I'm recording this video to take advantage of the free VIP level 2 status that Weeks gives you for free when you sign up to Weeks using the first link in the description down below. 24 hours after signing up, you will be upgraded to free VIP level 2 status, and there will be a 25% reduction on your trading fees. This offer expires on the 1st of September, so make sure to claim it as soon as possible. It's just an incredible bonus from my experience. 25% from trading fees is pretty cool, especially if you're a whale trader or if you're a frequent trader. It can save you a good amount of money on a cumulative basis. Okay, so let's go into the 4-day time frame, talk about Consensio. If you're a crypto kid for a long time, you are already familiar with Consensio. It's not a trading strategy that I've been talking about recently. I've been using this in my personal trading about 1.5 years ago, predominantly. And it was a trading strategy that my mentor taught me, Tone Vase, and he learned it from the late Tyler Jenks. So it's an incredible trading strategy. It's basically powered by the 3, 9, and 30 simple moving averages on the 40 time frame for Bitcoin. And I wanted to highlight something that's happening today or very soon, which occurred not too long ago this year, and it led to Bitcoin falling from the upper 90s down to about $74,000. And that is the full bearish crossover. So in this trading strategy, what you usually do is once the short term, so the 3 simple moving average, crosses into the midterm, which is the 9 simple moving average, you tend to start reducing the risk on your positions. I don't do that. What I look at only and primarily is when all of those moving averages cross negatively into each other, I consider to de-risk a lot of my long positions or close them entirely and potentially open short positions. And I do the inverse when you see a bullish crossover on all of them. So that's how I used to use it. And I just wanted to take a look at it today randomly. And I noticed that when all 3 of them crossed negatively into each other back in February, the price action fell by, let's have a look at this crossover right here. You fell by essentially 22 to 21% to the downside. If the current Bitcoin price action is going to be trading at 109, 108, 110 for another 2, let's say 2 more candles, so that's going to equate to about 5-6 days. So by the end of, let's say in exactly 1 week's time, if Bitcoin is 110 and below, then you're probably going to get the midterm and long term crossing into each other for sure. And then over a 2 to 3 week period, all of these would be crossing bearish, but you would be already hypothetically in the decline, already at the low 100s when that would have happened. So look, it's just an important thing to be keeping an eye on. I don't like how this is looking at this current moment in time. And to reverse this bearishness, we have to see Bitcoin breaking above this falling wedge pattern created on the 4-hourly time frame. If we can break above 110 going into next week, then honestly, I think the CME gap at 116,800 becomes the target, and you would be avoiding this bearish crossover. But if we do see this bearish crossover, then I think the drop to the 54 simple moving average is going to be what happens, as you would also be losing the bull and bear market support band, which would cause me to close my long positions, like I mentioned 2 videos ago now. So it's just a very important thing to be looking out on the weekly time frame. This week's candle is looking to confirm a MACD bearish crossover. The last time this happened, again, Bitcoin was at the 97, 98 region, and then you fell all the way to 74. Same thing happened right here. And eventually Bitcoin fell all the way down to $49,000. The last time you saw this bearish crossover, okay, hold on. I think you can still see the chart. Yeah. So the last time this happened, the Consensio trading system fired a sell. You had a double top. You're getting the double top now. MACD sell, MACD sell. So overall, probabilities are not looking that great. When you're going to September, it's even worse, as that's the worst month for Bitcoin. You go down by an average of negative 3.7%. You know, it's not amazing. And if Bitcoin does end up correcting to 92, 93, 94, I just think it will be a phenomenal buy the dip opportunity as much as possible. Why do I say that? Because we should still, hypothetically, have one more leg to the upside based off of Bitcoin cycles. You do see a correction right here in the previous cycle, over there in the cycle before, and even in the Genesis cycle before having one more rally upwards. So if 93 is able to hold and we get a sign of reversal with good volume and a good candlestick perhaps, then I will be buying as aggressively as I can, because that would be a fantastic buy the dip opportunity. If you end up losing that 50 to 54 simple moving average, then it's going to mark the top. This then would have been marked as the top, and Bitcoin would enter the bear market. And at that point, I would close everything and maybe keep some money in altcoins to try and time altcoin season, which I still think will happen in Q4 to Q1 of next year. And I want to discuss that in more detail when Benjamin Cohen comes on my channel very soon, because he believes that Bitcoin dominance regardless, even if Bitcoin has a bounce from here, from the bull and bear market support band, or comes down to the 50 simple, in both of those scenarios, he just expects Bitcoin dominance to increase and a rotation from altcoins to Bitcoin. In the case that obviously Bitcoin bounces, if Bitcoin goes down 16%, he expects a 30% correction on altcoins. And if Bitcoin just consolidates here, then he also expects Bitcoin dominance to go up. So right now, in the month of September, I just think that being in Bitcoin to me, makes more sense with a majority of our portfolio, and in Ethereum. But going into October and November, Moonvember, that's the time where I will keep my Bitcoin positions or my holdings at the lowest amount that it would ever be in the cycle, and rotate most of that capital into altcoins. And which altcoins? We've spoken about many in previous videos, but I will make full in-depth altcoin videos as we approach October and Moonvember. So those are my sets of analysis. If we look at the final Bitcoin TA that I will record for this video, it is the divergence that's happening between gold and the price of Bitcoin. So recently, in this cycle specifically, the price of gold and Bitcoin have been correlating amazingly well. Not so much when you go and zoom out, but in this cycle specifically, you've been doing a pretty good job. And right now, the price of gold is appreciating while the price of Bitcoin is seeing a depreciation. This is called a divergence. And a divergence like this happened last year from March to November, where the price of Bitcoin was going down and the price of gold was appreciating. Following a 7-month divergence, the price of Bitcoin rockets, pumps by 60%, and takes the revenge. And I think a similar situation could happen. It's just this divergence needs to become a little bit stronger, because if you look at the overall trend, Bitcoin has been pumping. It's only really this short-term trend where the divergence is existing. So if Bitcoin now dumps to the 54 simple moving average, then you're going to have that divergence being more and more strong, and that could cause that final rally being potentially as potent as what we experienced in 2024. But that's it for my Bitcoin analysis. Just some breaking news. Michael Saylor said Bitcoin is still on sale, so he could have bought more Bitcoin today. We will find out by tomorrow if that was the case. If you are new to crypto, the best thing is always to DCA. I know people say that you're too late into doing the DCA strategy where you buy $5 a day worth of Bitcoin to make a lot of money. Because, yeah, in 2015, if you ended up buying $5 a day of Bitcoin, and you've been doing that until today, you would have accumulated, it should be, let's see, so $5 a day, total invested $19,000. Current value, that would be $1.2 million, right? And I get it. You feel like it's too late to do that to make the same amount of money with very little amounts of money. But actually, if you start today, in 10 years' time, because the value of the dollar is going to be so much less, I think so let's say you did the exact same thing, right? For 10 years and 8 months. They say the total period is here, okay? Let's say you do the exact same thing. With $20,000 invested, I would argue that in 10 years' time, you're going to have somewhere in the $1.2, $1.3 million region in your pockets. But it's obviously not going to be 11 Bitcoin. It's going to be much less Bitcoin. But the value of your dollars in nominal terms, that would have appreciated maybe by 60x by buying Bitcoin on a cumulative basis over the next 10 years. Are you going to have 11 Bitcoin? No. But because of monetary depreciation and monetary devaluation, even though you wouldn't have collected as much Bitcoin as you would have collected 10 years ago, and if you've done that strategy from 2015 to today, you're going to still have the same appreciation in your nominal dollar value. That's the difference. So you're not late to escaping inflation and monetary debasement. You're late to collecting massive amounts of Bitcoin, which 11 Bitcoin will be in 10 years' time, but you still have a chance to save your money from going to zero. And that you can do by just DCAing every single day. If it's $5 a day, $10 a day, doesn't matter. But that is the strategy that I show people that ask me, okay, how can I become rich in crypto? This is what I do. Finally, we have World Liberty Financial listing on all major exchanges tomorrow. I'm staying away from this project, but if you do have World Liberty Financial, FYI, all major exchanges pretty much are listing WLFI coin. So guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Have a wonderful Labor Day holiday tomorrow. We will still be making a video on this channel. We'll still be going live on the Moon Show regardless. But take care, and I'll see you all very soon. Bye-bye.